एहसास न्याय का सबके लिए, आकाश न्याय का सबके लिए.
Hello everyone, I'm Reena Fernandez, the Secretary of North Goa District Legal Services Authority. I welcome you all to this virtual Juridicare series hosted by Goa State Legal Services Authority. Today, thousands of vehicles are put on the road and the largest number of injuries and deaths take place on the road on account of motor vehicular accidents. To speak on this very important subject of motor accident, compensation and Motor Vehicles Act 1988, we have with us Honorable Shri Edgar Fernandez, District Judge and Additional Sessions Judge, Presiding Officer of the Motor Accident Claims Tribunal. I welcome you, sir, to this program to share your views on the subject.
It is a pleasure to be associated with the Goa State Legal Services Authority in their virtual Juridicare series. Day in and day out, we either hear or read about road accidents resulting in deaths or permanent disabilities to victims or causing damages to property. Many of us or our close relations have even suffered the traumatic experience and the expenses as a result of such accidents. However, we are unaware of the various aspects of the remedy of compensation. The purpose of this talk today is therefore to spread awareness of the basic aspects of seeking compensation in a motor vehicle accident case. The first aspect which we need to know is the forum to seek compensation. Section 165 of the Motor Vehicle Act requires the state government to constitute motor vehicle accident claims tribunals for the purpose of adjudicating claims for compensation in respect of motor vehicle accidents. It also specifies that the minimum qualification for a person to be appointed as a member of the claims tribunal is that he or she should be or should have been or should be qualified to be appointed as a district judge. We therefore have motor vehicle accident claims tribunal in each district presiding over by district judicial officers of the rank of district judges. Now let us understand the provisions which deal with the payment of compensation in respect of a motor vehicle accident. These are Section 140, Section 163A and Section 166 of the Act. Out of these, Section 140 and 163A deal with no fault liability, that is, the claimant seeking compensation under these two sections is not required to prove that the accident was due to the negligence on the part of the driver of the offending vehicle. On the other hand, a person filing an application under Section 166 has to prove that the accident was caused due to the rash and negligent driving of the offending vehicle. A person cannot seek compensation for damage to property due to a motor vehicle accident under Section 140 and 163A. For such a person, the only remedy is Section 166. The difference between Section 140 and 163A is that Section 140 prescribes fixed compensation of Rs 50,000 in death cases and Rs 25,000 in case of permanent disability, while Section 163A prescribes payment of compensation on a structured formula basis as indicated in the second schedule of the Act. An application under Section 140 is normally filed along with an application for compensation under Section 166 as an interim measure. An application under Section 163A, on the other hand, is final in nature, like an application under Section 166. Section 163A is by way of an exemption to Section 166 and is a social security measure for the benefit of those whose annual income is not more than Rs 40,000. We have to note that one cannot claim compensation both under Section 140 and 163A but has to opt for either of the two sections. Similarly, one cannot pursue remedies both under Section 163A and 166 but has to opt for either of the two. Now we are next required to know who can file an application for compensation. This is found in Section 166 of the Act. This provision states that in injury cases, the application has to be filed by the person who sustained the injury. In case where there is damage to property by the owner of the property damaged, and in that cases by all or any of the legal representatives of the deceased. The application can also be filed by any person duly authorized by the injured or all or any of the legal representatives of the deceased. Where all the legal representatives of the deceased have not joined in the application, it must be made on behalf of or for the benefit of all the legal representatives. If all the legal representatives are not joined as applicants, the others have to be included as respondents. This is because the quantum of compensation cannot be decided in the absence of some of the legal representatives. Now, who is liable to pay compensation or against whom should such applications be filed? The driver, being the offender, is primarily liable to pay the compensation. As the driver is considered to be the agent of the owner is also liable. When the vehicle is insured, Section 149(1) of the Act requires the insurance company to pay the compensation on behalf of the owner. Therefore, the driver, the owner and the insurer of the offending vehicle or vehicles should be made party respondents. Section 146 of the Act lays down that no vehicle can be used unless it is insured, at least towards third parties. In case the vehicle is not insured, then the owner and the driver of the offending vehicle will have to personally pay the compensation to the third party claimants, apart from being liable for penal consequences under the criminal law. Even if the vehicle is insured, the insurance company will not be liable to pay the compensation if the vehicle was used in breach of the conditions of the policy. For example, if at the time of the accident, the vehicle was used for the purpose of racing or for a purpose not allowed by its permit, or if the vehicle did not have a permit or a fitness certificate, or if the vehicle was driven by any person who does not hold a valid license or is disqualified for holding or obtaining a driving license. The insurance company will also not be liable if the policy is void on the ground that it was obtained by non-disclosure or misrepresentation of material facts. This is as provided by Section 149(2) of the Act. Now let us understand how the quantum of compensation is arrived at. The object of awarding compensation is to make good the loss suffered as far as money can do in a fair, reasonable and equitable manner. Though the tribunal will ascertain the compensation objectively, some guesswork with reference to the nature of the disability and its consequences is inevitable. It is, however, mandatory that the tribunal should determine just compensation, which is neither a bonanza nor a windfall, and simultaneously which is not a pittance. In their cases, compensation is granted under first four heads. Firstly, loss of dependency. Secondly, loss of estate. Third is funeral expenses, and fourth is loss of consortium. If any expenditure was incurred towards the medical expenses of the deceased from the time of the accident till his death, the same will also be awarded as compensation. Compensation towards loss of dependency is calculated by finding out from the evidence the income of the deceased per annum. To this amount, an addition is made towards future prospects. To take into account the increase in the income of the deceased over 3 years. This addition is a certain percentage of the actual salary or the established income and depends on, firstly, whether the deceased had a permanent job or was self-employed or had a fixed salary, and secondly, on the age of the deceased. This percentage was specified by the Supreme Court in various judgments, and lastly by a Constitution Bench judgment in the case of National Insurance Company versus Pranay Shetty and others. After such additions are made, a deduction is then made towards the personal living expenses of the deceased. This is to take into account the amount of money which the deceased would have spent on himself. This deduction depends on whether the deceased was married or not and the number of dependents. The extent of such deduction is also specified by the Supreme Court in a judgment in the case of Salla Verma and others versus Delhi Transport Corporation. The figure that is arrived at after the addition and the deduction is called the multiplicand. The loss of dependency is then arrived at by multiplying the multiplicand with the multiplier which depends on the age of the deceased and also specified by the Supreme Court in Sallah Verma's case. In terms of the judgment in Pranay Shetty's case, the reasonable figures under the heads of loss of estate and funeral expenses are rupees 15,000 each, and towards loss of consortium is rupees 40,000. These amounts have to be enhanced by 10% every 3 years with reference to 31/10/2017, which was the date of the judgment. Loss of consortium could be of a spouse, parent or child. In personal injury cases, compensation is awarded basically as pecuniary and non-pecuniary damages. Pecuniary damages are those which are can be easily ascertained. Pecuniary damages are granted under 3 heads. First is the expenses relating to treatment, hospitalization, medicines, transport for the purpose of treatment, special diet and miscellaneous expenditure. Second is the loss of earnings. This head is subdivided into 2 heads, that is, loss of earning during the period of treatment and loss of future earnings on account of permanent disability. The multiplier specified in Sallah Verma's case is used to compute the loss of future earnings after ascertaining the loss of earning capacity consequent to the permanent disability. The third head is future medical expenses. Compensation under this head depends upon specific medical evidence regarding firstly the need for further treatment and secondly the costs thereof. Now non-pecuniary damages are also granted under 3 heads. First is the damages for pain, suffering and trauma and depends on the nature of injuries and the treatment and procedures undergone by the injured. Second head is the loss of amenities. This is to compensate the injured for being deprived of free movement and material pleasures on account of the physical disability and therefore depend on the gravity of the disability and what a person cannot do or how much a person has become dependent on others because of the disability. The third head is loss of expectation of life. Compensation under this head is granted only if there is clear medical evidence that the permanent disability will lead to shortening of the normal lifespan. These in brief are the broad principles generally followed for the grant of compensation under the Motor Vehicles Act. I must also make you aware that the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Jayaprakash versus National Insurance Company noticed the procedural delays in adjudication or settlement of claims by the Claims Tribunal which resulted in consequent hardships to the victim and their families. The Honorable Supreme Court therefore directed all states to implement the Claims Tribunal agreed procedure formulated and since modified by the Honorable High Court of Delhi. As for the modified procedure, the police is required to give intimation of the accident to the Claims Tribunal and the insurance company within 48 hours. The investigating officer is then required to collect and verify all the documents required for the purpose of ascertaining and calculating the compensation and file a detailed accident report. We call it a DAR before the Claims Tribunal within 30 days. Upon receiving the DAR, and if the police have not notified the parties of the date of the appearance before the tribunal will issue a notice to the driver, owner and the insurance company of the vehicles involved in the accident and the injured for their appearance within 30 days. In case of death, such notice will be sent to all the LRs of the deceased. The insurance company is required to appoint a designated officer who is responsible to process the case and to take a reasoned decision in respect of the amount of compensation payable to the claimants in accordance with law. If the amount arrived at by the officer is fair and acceptable to the claimants, the Claims Tribunal will pass a consent award. If not, the matter will be decided by the tribunal after conducting an inquiry. In M.R. Krishnamurthy versus New India Insurance Company, reported in AIR 2019, Supreme Court 5625, the Honorable Supreme Court issued further directions. In compliance of these directions, special mediators are appointed and after the parties appear before the tribunal pursuant to the first notice, they are referred to the special mediators who assist the parties in arriving at a just compensation amicably. If the matter is settled, a consent award is passed. If not, the matter will be decided by the tribunal on merits. In terms of the agreed procedure, if the offending vehicle is not covered by a policy of insurance against third-party risks, or if the driver of the vehicle is not holding a valid driving license, the vehicle involved in the accident will not be released unless and until the registered owner furnishes sufficient security to the satisfaction of the court to pay the compensation that may be awarded in a claims case arising out of the accident. If no such security is furnished on expiry of 3 months of the vehicle being taken in possession by the investigating officer, the vehicle will be sold in public auction by the magistrate having jurisdiction over the area where the accident occurred. The proceeds of such sale will be deposited with the concerned claims tribunal for the purpose of satisfying the award that may be passed in respect of the accident. To protect the interest of the claimants from possible exploitation, part of the compensation is normally invested in long-term fixed deposits on condition that the bank will not permit any loan or advance on the fixed deposit. Of course, the claimant can move the tribunal if there is an urgent need for the money. To end, I will use the quote which says, "Life has no reset button, drive safe." Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the very informative talk on this subject. Thank you, viewers. I kindly request you to like, subscribe and share this video.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण
न्यायालयातल्या कारवाई खातीर बरो वकील मेळोवन दिता.
वेळार योग्य कायद्या खालची मदत आणि सल्लो दिता
लोक अदालत द्वारा चड काळच्या केसीक बेगीन सोपयता.
आणि ते बी सामके मोफत.
राष्ट्रीय न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण बेस बरो न्याय बेस बरो समाज.
अधिक माहिती खातीर लागच्या न्यायालयातल्या न्यायिक सेवा प्राधिकरण कार्यालया लागीं संपर्क करा
वा टोल फ्री नंबर 151000 चेर फोन करा.